In front of us, we have a toolkit for an API R24 seal ring groove. We have already mounted the inserts in the two cutter heads. We will now guide you, step by step, how to assemble the SpiroGrooving tool. We start with the adapter. To allow for coolant out to both cutting heads, you may need to remove coolant plugs from the adapter. Simply remove the plugs from the adapter. Make sure that no coolant plugs remains from the two outlets. Next step is to mount the slides. For the SpiroGrooving cutter, there is only one design of the slide that fits all adapters for this concept. Mount two slides on the adapter. As you can see, each slide has two cutting head positions. Position 1, inner, and position 2, outer. With the core bore system that this concept is built from, you get a very flexible solution that covers a certain diameter range per kit. To get the most stable setup for the tool, start to rough position the slides symmetrically, as close to the tool center line as possible. This in order to minimize the slide's overhang from the adapter. In this case, with a groove diameter of 95.25 mm, we will use the cutting head position 2 for best stability. Mount the M10 slide lock screws and tight softly. The next step is to mount the cutter heads. Each head has 4 locking screws. We start to remove the thread protection screws from the cutter position that we are going to use and move them into the holes that will not be used. In this case, we remove the thread protection screws from cutter head position 2 and mount them into the inner holes in position 1. To allow for maximum coolant flow, we need to plug the coolant holes for the cutter head position not being used. In our case, we need to move the coolant plug to the cutter head position 1. We are now ready to mount the cutter heads. These cutters are marked with OD, outer diameter, and ID, inner diameter. When presetting the cutter, it is required to keep track of this. We start with the cutter head marked OD. Mount the head into cutter head position 2. It doesn't matter on which slide you mount the head. Mount the inner diameter, ID head, on the other slide. Finally, mount the M6 cutter head, locking screws. Thanks to the serration design, it is not possible to mount the cutting head in the wrong direction. Mounting is now completed and we are ready to preset the cutter.